Last week, an unspecified number of U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers struck fortified underground weapons installations in Yemen, marking the aircraft's first combat operations against Houthi troops. According to the Defense Department, the B-2 aircraft were part of a larger operation. Its purpose is to demolish the armaments that Houthi rebels have employed to randomly attack civilian, commercial, and even military vessels traversing the international waters of the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden in recent times. However, the Houthis are using these stealth bombers because they lack significant air defense capabilities. This implies that the story is more complex than it initially appears. While the primary goal of this mission was to destroy Houthi weapon stores, the secondary goal was almost definitely to send a 30,000-pound bunker-busting message to the Islamic Republic of Iran. So let's talk about that message, the B-2 Spirit, and the weapon that it alone may carry. Last week's American operations against Houthi forces in Yemen came amid heightened regional tensions. Israel is currently engaged in ongoing and contentious military operations against the terror group known as Hamas, which operates within Israeli-occupied Gaza. The attack has intensified into a broad assault, prompting some to label it as a genocide against the Palestinian people. Just over a year ago, a Hamas-led terror attack on Israeli civilians sparked the offensive, which has since inspired Iran-backed extremist organizations to launch attacks on Israel, the United States, and other partner countries in the name of aiding the increasingly desperate Palestinian population. Now, the Houthis, like Hamas and Hezbollah, are Iranian-backed, trained, and supported armed groups that Iran utilizes to accomplish its foreign policy goals while maintaining plausible deniability, using a methodology similar to that of Russia's infamous PMC Wagner. Using these ostensibly autonomous forces to undertake military operations on foreign land shifts responsibility away from the nation that planned and funded the attacks. Now, the Defense Department has published relatively few facts about the B-2's actual role in these airstrikes, such as the number of aircraft involved, the air bases from which they flew, and the types of weapons deployed. Initially, there was speculation about what the stealth bombers were carrying. The B-2 is the only aircraft capable of carrying the massive and uniquely American 30,000-pound GBU-57 Huge Ordnance Penetrator, also known as the MOP, which is designed to breach bunkers. However, subsequent accounts indicate that this was doubtful and that they most likely used smaller 5,000-pound bunker busters, such as the GBU-72B. However, the precise details of the B-2 missions last week are not as crucial from a geopolitical perspective as the message these aircraft conveyed to Iranian leaders. That communication included the GBU-57, even though it wasn't in the payload. Load now, the Houthis have air defense capability. They do have a number of leftover Soviet-era systems, including the SA-2, SA-3, SA-6, and SA-9. The SA-3 is notable for being the surface-to-air missile system that successfully downed an American F-17 Nighthawk, making it the world's first. The first operational stealth aircraft flew over Yugoslavia in 1999, but practically none of these systems, nor any of the Iranian-sourced weapons that the Houthis have upgraded their air defenses with in recent years, such as the Sayed-2C, could truly threaten the B-2 Spirit with adequate mission planning. This implies that a combination of two factors most likely influenced the decision to use B-2s for these bombings. The first step is to reduce the risk to American troops. Sure, the B-2 is overkill against Houthi air defenses, but why not utilize it while you have it? The second objective was to send a clear message to the financial backers of the Houthis in Iran, providing Iran with a harsh reminder of America's ability to put even the most well-protected underground bunkers in danger was undoubtedly one of the principal goals of this operation. In recent decades, Iran has placed substantial portions of its nuclear weapons development, as well as weapons storage facilities, command and control centers, and even entire air bases, underground in order to protect them from Israeli or American attack. The nuclear enrichment facilities at Natanz, located around 180 miles or 300 kilometers south of Tehran, are among the most significant of these underground installations. In 2009, the United States published previously classified intelligence showing Iranian forces excavating deep into the Zagros Mountains near the complex as part of the country's continuous endeavor to relocate nuclear centrifuges deeper underground than American buster munitions could penetrate. To put it simply, Iran is banking that by burying their most critical command components, military assets, and nuclear development programs hundreds of feet below, they will be safe from American attacks, a theory that the B-2 Spirits deployed last week. While the 5,000-pound bunker busters used used last week are powerful enough to reach targets buried beneath 150 feet of earth or at least 15 feet of reinforced concrete, the 30,000-pound GBU-57 MOP is reportedly capable of burrowing through well over 200 feet of earth and more than 25 feet of solid, reinforced concrete. In truth, there is no publicly known data on how deep the MOP can go, although most estimates say it's much deeper than those figures indicate. There aren't many places on Earth, or underneath it, that a MOP can't reach. Not only is the B-2 the only aircraft capable of carrying this armament, but the B-2 can accommodate 2 of them. Let's delve deeper into this weapon system, just like we did with the MOP. The GBU-57 Huge Ordnance Penetrator is a huge GPS-guided bomb made up of a BLU-127 warhead box and a KMU-612 tail kit with a GPS navigation system, similar to those found in American JDAMs or Joint Direct Attack munitions. The tail has 4 active lattice fins that deploy when the weapon is deployed, and they are operated by separate actuators to accurately direct the bomb to its target locations. The original weapon designation was GBU-57AB, followed by GBU-57B, GBU-57CB, GBU-57DB, GBU-57EB, and GBU-57FB. What actual changes do each of these new designations represent? We have largely categorized the remains, which measure approximately 20.5 feet long and 31.5 inches in diameter. The MOP is only slightly larger than a Tomahawk cruise missile, but it weighs over 10 times as heavy at approximately 27,125 pounds. There were over 5,300 pounds of explosives, which included approximately 4,590 pounds of AFX 757 and an extra 752 pounds of a more recent explosive called PBXN-114. Now, AFX 757, the principal explosive included in the MOP, is a propellant-like plastic explosive compound designed expressly to enhance explosion energy output for bunker buster bombs like the MOP. First of all, you might be surprised to learn that the warhead only makes up around 20% of the total weight of a 30,000-pound weapon. With no methods of onboard propulsion or fuel storage, the fuselage is extremely dense and reinforced. The weapon itself, designed to bore directly through even the most guarded underground facilities, weighs in at more than 20,000 pounds. Superior Forge and Steel Corporation in Lima, Ohio, and Elwood National Forge in Irvine, Pennsylvania, created these extraordinarily tough casings that are 3.05 inches thick for approximately $90 million. The original tooling and first production batch of the GBU-57 began in March 2007 at New Mexico's White Sands Missile Range, and by October 2009, the Pentagon had filed an urgent request to Congress. The plan is to reallocate finances to quickly source 4 of these weapons through concurrent manufacture, meaning that the first 4 MOPs were built while testing was still ongoing, and then incorporate them into the B-2 Spirit. The exact number of each MOP variety, as well as the total number of MOPs in the United States, is still unknown. In fiscal year 2009, the Air Force ordered 8 weapons, and as of September 2011, Boeing, the weapons prime contractor, had supplied a total of 20 complete MOPs. It is unclear how many further guns have been obtained. However, there have been multiple production runs since then. We also know that in 2012, the United States unveiled Iran's deep underground facilities. The Indian nuclear enrichment complex near Natanz may reach as far as 300 feet below the surface. So the Pentagon committed an additional $82 million, or roughly $114 million in today's currency, to improve the bomb's penetration capabilities. The Pentagon reported in January of the following year that this attempt had been effective but provided no further specifics. It is worth noting, however, that the weapon's widely accepted 200-foot penetration depth is based on Air Force assertions made prior to this update back in 2007. Now, the most recent MOP enhancements coincided with the announcement of new procurements in 2018. The majority of these changes are classified, but we do know that they were generally referred to as Enhanced Threat Response 4 or ETR-4 weapon modifications, with one of those enhancements being a new FUSE system. A significant challenge is designing a fuse that can withstand dropping from a high altitude and then penetrating hundreds of feet into the ground. According to accounts from the combat zone, an upgraded fuse might not only make the weapon safer and more reliable, but could also allow it to penetrate further without detonating prematurely. prematurely. The bomb portion of later MOPS, the inert version of the BLU-127CB, contains an element known as a booster. They couldn't tell if this booster is a source of propulsion, such as a rocket booster, or if it refers to another type of penetration help, such as a minor explosive charge that allows the larger charge to detonate. We also know that 3 B-2s dropped a single warhead on known targets during testing in 2018 over the White Sands Missile Range. The Pentagon provided no information about these tests. Other than that, they were all successful. According to Army Lieutenant Colonel Michelle Baldanza, a spokesperson for the Pentagon's testing division, they proved the weapon's efficiency, but that was all she said. It's worth mentioning that the United States has demonstrated the capacity to drop numerous bunker busters in the same location, utilizing the same GPS guidance technology used across the entire series of weapons. And this enables American aircraft to strike targets that are deeper than their bunker busters can reach alone, by effectively hitting the crater formed by the first weapon with a second, then a third, and so on. The B-2 Spirit can carry a massive 162,000-pound GBU, 31 bunker busters that can be employed in this fashion in quick succession, but a single B-2 could alternatively carry 230,000-pound MOPS to engage numerous targets or one very deep one. With numerous B-2s involved, as we witnessed in last week's operation, they might potentially hit the same target with multiple MOPS to assure thorough destruction, even at great depths. Now that we've covered the basics of the MOP, let's conclude by briefly discussing how B-2 Spirits would use this weapon to engage targets inside Iran. Now let's delve into the details of last week's B-2 bombings against the Houthis. The details remain vague, but it seems likely that these aircraft flew from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, which houses all 19 of America's operational stealth bombers, in a strike on Iran's subsurface nuclear facilities in Natanz. This would most likely be the starting location. However, to be clear, B-2s have been known to fly from a number of air bases across the world for various missions. This is not about white-knuckle flying. After leaving Whiteman, the two-person B-2 crew faced a long and daunting flight of approximately 7,000 miles to their destinations. At a cruising speed of around 550 to 600 miles per hour, roughly the same as a commercial airliner, taking the most direct route possible, which would be impossible due to mission requirements in in-flight refueling, they'd be looking at a roughly 24-hour round trip, and it'd almost certainly be significantly longer. That means mission planning would encompass far more than just route planning and threat mitigation. The B-2 can now cover the majority of a direct journey to Iran on a single tank of gas, thanks to its unrefueled range of around 6,900 miles. However, these aircraft, carrying a pair of 30,000-pound bunker busters, would likely need to rendezvous with tankers every 6 hours as they flew around the world. Flying the direct path would take the airplane over several friendly nations, as well as several unfriendly ones, such as Russia. As a result, the entire distance traveled is likely to be much more than if the route were straight. As the B-2s entered Iranian airspace, the journey became more complex as they flew along pre-planned routes designed to avoid the most capable integrated air defense systems. It's crucial to control not only the aircraft's position in relation to those systems, but also its altitude and the angle at which it faces long-range radar arrays. We would meticulously plan every aspect of the flight to take advantage of the B-2's limited observability and boost their chances of success and survival. These B-2s could deploy their massive bunker buster MOPS from as far away as 24 miles as they approach the heavily defended airspace around Natanz, allowing the weapon's forward momentum to carry them the rest of the way, while the GPS guidance-controlled tail fins steered the bombs directly into a specific target location that was determined to have the best chance of success. With up to 120,000 pounds of bunker-busting power, OB-2s could quickly target a specific point in the mountain complex, destroying subsurface facilities and infuriating any Iranian defenses not already on high alert. From there, it would be a hectic race across the border, flying along a different but equally well-planned route out of Iranian airspace before settling in for a long flight home or diverting to friendly airstrips in Europe or Australia. The B-2 Spirit's stealthy design and radar-absorbing skin would go a significant way toward mitigating the sharper edges of Iranian air defenses, but fighter intercepts would remain a major problem. However, Iranian forces and nuclear researchers believed they were safe 300 feet underground. Indeed, the narrative would be significantly altered. And that concludes this edition. If you learned anything from today's video, please like and subscribe down below and leave a comment so I know what to cover next. And of course, don't forget to touch the bell symbol so you don't miss any videos we post. See you next time.